Hey, what up, though? Welcome to the Dope Friendz podcast. It's Leon, and today I'm being joined by the hella dope friend, DJ Epic.
Hey,
man.
what's good,
How
bro?
you
What's
doing,
good?
man?
I'm well, bro. Thank you for having me, man. This is awesome.
Man, it's been a minute since we actually really kicked it. You know what I mean?
It has. I seen you last time at State a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. You was
Before
rocking the
that-
show, right?
Yeah. I was DJing with the homies Los Rakas. Before that, though, man, it's been years, I think, since
I
the last time
know.
I seen you.
And then I feel like the last time, I mean, we seen each other a couple times at City College and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
But before that, it was just at Wells Fargo.
That's where it was. That's where it started.
Yeah, that was that's when I met you, and that was such a long time ago. And I feel like you was the only homie I really made from there, man. Because that was a tough gig, you know.
It was a tough gig. It was definitely a tough gig. I had got that job fresh out of high school.
Oh yeah.
And it was my first real job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird for me. It was a weird time. I had never had to deal with working with people, other personalities, having a boss and shit. It was but it was crazy though. You came in. I want to say, how long were you there for? You weren't even there for that long.
I was not there for too long.
Nah.
I don't remember for how long, but I remember man, the days took forever. Those 8 hours felt 16.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it was just a tough gig. It was I remember you were the only one that I could vent to about not liking the gig, because you know what I mean? Because everybody else was kind of prim and proper and stuff like that. And I think we might have been mostly the only dudes back there too, right?
Maybe around that time, probably. There was a lot of tellers that were in and out, or they went to there and then they shipped them off to a different branch or something like that. So probably by the time when you got there, it was probably just us two back there, I think. I don't really remember, but yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I don't know, check me if I'm wrong, and we don't gotta drop no names or anything, but I feel the branch manager was pretty much trying to get at, I feel all the female tellers. That's what I felt like.
Definitely.
And
that's what I heard. I heard he was doing all sorts of funny shit.
Man.
And it's just it wasn't good for him. I think shortly after I left, I think
he got caught up.
He got caught up or something happened. Somebody said something about it, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Yeah, see, I felt that was probably the case, because it was that's might have been the reason why the female tellers were more prim and proper, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's you know what I mean, there's all this power play, you know what I mean, that was being directed towards. At least that's what I felt like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember one day I just couldn't take it no more, so I called in, and I was just you know what, I don't think I'm gonna come today, and I don't think I'm ever gonna come ever again. And then the supervisor.
So that's how you quit.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was
okay.
the morning of a shift. You know what I mean?
Got it.
The morning of. It's you know what? Just why am I even gonna lie to you? I don't want to come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the supervisor was cool with it. But I remember the very next day, you had texted me during your lunch break.
Okay.
And you was hey, bro, I left for lunch, and I'm not coming back.
Oh, that's right. It was the next day. Yeah, I think you leaving probably motivated me to just bounce.
Man, and that's funny because I felt I might have, you know what I mean, I had something to do with that. I was oh man, for real, that's tight.
You inspired me.
Not to say that people should just up and quit their jobs and stuff like that, but
no, definitely not. I had already been there. I was there for a total of a little over 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
I think it was time. It was definitely time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't time to quit, maybe it was time to try to go up the ladder and get a different position. But banking really wasn't. You know what I mean? I wasn't too excited about it. I had already been DJing throughout high school, and finally I was old enough to, as 18 when I started at Wells Fargo, I was old enough to get into clubs and DJ legally.
Mm-hmm.
Because prior to that, I would have to get there hella early before security, chill in the DJ booth. Hopefully no one will come and card me, you know what I mean? To be able to DJ and get money. But I wasn't old enough. Right. So when I was at Wells Fargo, I was already old enough to go to clubs. And then by that time, I was damn near 21. So I was even, able to go to different clubs that I wasn't able to go to before.
Right.
So it was time, like 2.5 years of being at the bank. It wasn't the best of circumstances with coworkers, with you said with management also, and it just wasn't my passion. I didn't feel it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't like. It just wasn't fun to have to,
Yeah.
the people yell at you, and they're not yelling at you per se. They're yelling at Wells Fargo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
you're the middle person, so it's like
yeah,
you're the buffer.
You can't help but feel a certain way. So I definitely left, bro. It was definitely time, and I think it was just the fact that you left and we had already been talking about how funky it was. I just had to dip too, bro. You know what I mean? Like fuck it, I left. So yeah, I counted my cash one day and I just never came back.
I mean, it's just so funny that we both left like in that kind of way, because it was like, man, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, part of, I think the reason why we bonded was, I think, because then you had told me it was through hip hop, right? Because you had told me you were DJing and stuff like that. And it's funny that you mentioned like having to show up early to get into gigs and stuff. I remember you got me into one of your gigs, right? I think we were both probably under 21, maybe just around that time or something.
Where at?
Like
Do you remember?
It was like by Safeway at North Beach, around that area. It was Latin night. I remember you was DJing there or something like that.
I don't remember that. Wow.
Yeah, I remember that like vaguely, now that you mention it, because it's like the whole like, all right, we had to show up early before anybody else type of thing, so nobody can card us type of stuff.
Bro, that's dope. I don't remember that. That's cool. That's a cool story.
Yeah, but I remember like I was just like, man, you already a DJ, like, you know what I mean? Why don't you just do that? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, back then I was rapping or whatever, but I wasn't taking it seriously or nothing like that. You know,
I think you even had a video back then, right? Or a few videos, probably some videos.
Probably, yeah. Back then I was really just messing around with YouTube, and back then it was easy to get views.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If you were just putting anything out there, you were getting views, and
people weren't paying for them back then.
Well, yeah.
It was organic.
yeah, exactly. Because now these days you're like competing with like straight up companies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely, for sure.
So it's not really like it's not like back in the day where it's organic, you know what I mean? It's just people just wanted to share their art on camera or whatever that, and then they had a platform.
Word.
Like they like, you know what I mean? And that's how a lot of like, especially like folks of color, like, came up on YouTube, right? Because they weren't getting like casted in Hollywood and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I remember I had like a bunch of like really stupid videos and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I took them all down because I'm stupid, and you know what I mean? I didn't really like because I got recognized for one of them in the streets and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't want to be known for this.
Yeah.
But then really, I should have just like, kind of went with that.
Like prank videos or?
Well, I did like one video. It was like a parody of I Love College. It was like about community college and stuff like that, and that one had like gotten a lot of shares. You know what I mean? Word. It was like it was getting circulated. Like by blogs and stuff like that. I think it hit like 35K views, and then I was like, I'm gonna take this down because I was getting recognized like on the street, and people were just knowing me as that funny Asian dude. You know what I'm saying?
Were you able to monetize on those 35,000 views?
Nah. I think this was before the YouTube partners and stuff like that.
Got it.
So it was, or maybe they had it, and I just didn't know how to do it.
Word.
You know what I mean? But it's a trip how like, you know what I mean, like after leaving, you know what I mean? You did it, man. You pursued DJing like full time, right?
I did. I just kept going. I went to school after that, and I just kept DJing, bro. And I'm still trying. You know what I mean? I'm still going.
What was like the process like when you dipped, like was it your intention to get right into DJing, or was it school, or like?
At the time I was already DJing. I don't think I started DJing more once I left Wells Fargo. But I was able to do a lot of cooler shit. It took me a while to get back into school. I went to City for a while. I took some courses at State.
What you study?
Broadcasting.
Okay.
And I ultimately went to Expression for a while.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so but that was like years after, you know what I mean? But around that time is I started doing an online radio show. I don't remember the year exactly. I don't remember the exact year, but I was doing an online radio show. I did that for a while. That was cool. We were in the Mission. We had a studio in the Mission District, and through that, I started meeting more people. At that point, I stopped DJing as much out, and I was focused on like the radio aspect of it, and I was doing a lot of the radio shit, which is really cool, bro. Like it was a great experience. I learned a lot about radio, commercials, and just how to produce shows and shit. But also, I met a lot of people. People would come in and out of the studio. People I've never heard of who were from my city who now we're friends and they're doing cool shit. Dope friends. So those years were, I would say, really crucial for me growing my brand and just fucking music in general.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How did you kind of, I guess, did you like stumble across it, or was that something you were actively looking to do? Was to get in the radio?
I was never really looking to do it. I had a homie who knew someone. All right, bro.
What's your pup's name again?
His name's Louis.
Louis howling, huh?
He's howling at the sirens.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Cute
I had a
pup.
homie who was already DJing for someone who had an online radio show. They were doing like a Latin reggaeton type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So through the homie, my DJ homie, he would tell me to come to the studio as he was DJing for the show. So I'd periodically show up, and then there became a time where he wasn't able to DJ, so they'd ask me. I'd show up, they'd ask me. So slowly I started DJing for him, and that led into me starting my own online radio show. So I started a show. It was called My Cousin's a Drug Dealer.
Okay.
So basically, we were just trying to say that we were trying to make a positive spin on it, to where my cousin was making beats, he was making music, and that was his drug.
Mm-hmm.
He was sharing with people. But it was really cool, bro. It was a really organic start, and it blossomed into something I didn't expect, and I met hella people, and it was really awesome.
That's cool. It's like your cousins are a hope dealer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So like
yeah.
just trying to spin it and make it positive and
for
stuff
sure,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool. How long did you do that for?
I did that for like 3 years strong, and then after the last 2 years, it was kind of off and on with school and just personal things that I had going on. So it was around 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, altogether.
But it seems like a lot of opportunity had came from that, right? It's like the age old saying, 80% of success is showing up, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I still have homies who do it now, and I go check on them, periodically, and they're still doing it. And, the level that they're doing now was something that I was aspiring to do back then, and they just kept with it. Online, internet, radio show,
Damn.
Homies hosting shows at the Oracle. It's really cool to see that shit.
Right.
The same people that were doing the same thing that I was doing, online radio in someone's, studio, and it grew into something so much doper.
I mean, online radio is like the wave right now, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The podcasting and like the visuals, all that is coming in. You know what I mean? It's been, but now more than ever, it's just so easier to just put yourself out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? As opposed to waiting to get picked up by someone and shopping your demos around or whatever reel you have,
Right. So was it through that? Was that how you eventually linked up with Los Rakas, or is that like later on?
I linked up with Los Rakas actually DJing. I had a residency at with a promoter who would do a Latin party. Los Rakas was a guest performer at one of the parties. He would, every month or so, he would have a different act, along with 2 or 3 DJs, local DJs. So I was one of the DJs that he would constantly contract, and Los Rakas was an act that was booked. That was around the time. That was around the time when I met them, and it was the same thing. I met them. And then I would see them at parties. I would see them at events. I remember I seen them at Art and Soul in Oakland one time. They were performing, and I was DJing on a different stage, and we just crossed paths. So again, with them, it was super organic. It was years of just meeting them, seeing them, crossing paths at different events, and then one day I got a phone call, to come through and DJ. I believe the first show I did with them was at the Fillmore.
Okay.
And they were opening up for Ozomatli. 2013, maybe I want to say, and that show was cool. And then they asked me to do like a small run, maybe like a couple months after. They asked me to do a small run in New York. So we did like three or four shows, and they did like some interviews, some TV, radio interviews, and then right after that, they had asked me to go on tour with them. So literally right after that, maybe like the following month, we went on a national tour. We opened up for Soja. Soja's a reggae group out of, I believe they're out of Hawaii, or I might be lying. I'm not sure. Soja. And that was cool. That was amazing. That was my first like tour.
That was your first tour.
That was my first tour. That was the first run we did. We did the smaller one, but it was it was small. It was just us three or four, them two, a photographer, myself.
So this was around like 2013-ish?
2013 into 2014, I believe, yeah. So we were literally gone for like a month straight.
That's
we were
cool,
gone
man.
for a month straight. Yeah.
Any crazy tour stories?
There's a lot of shit. I remember on this specific tour, we were at the House of Blues in Chicago. We were chilling backstage. I don't remember if we had gotten off stage or we were waiting to go on stage. And there were people that we were with who would go get fans from the crowd, bring them to the back, come kick it, smoke, chill, take pictures. So this round of people he brought back, it was just one dude, and I seen the dude. I didn't really pay too much attention to it. Usually I'm just back there either on my computer trying to get a set ready, or we're chopping it up, just talking shit. And so the people that come back there aren't really for me. They're for the boys. So I didn't really pay too much attention to it. And they were talking or whatever, and everything was cool. And the next thing you know, homie starts taking his shirt off. I'm like, well, what the fuck? What's going on? Why is he taking his shirt off? So he takes his shirt off, bro, and he's got portraits of Dune and Rico on his chest, tatted on his chest.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so he had,
That's how he got the invite back, huh?
Yeah, so shout out to homie, I forgot his name, but he's got portraits of Dune and Rico on his chest. And that just showed me the level of how they touch people, you know what I mean? And how important music is to people, and how it plays a different role in everyone separately, you know what I mean? Like, this dude decided that this music was powerful enough to put ink on his body with someone else's face. I don't know if he had ever met them prior to that either. I think that was the first time he met the boys too. So, not knowing them, only based on music alone, he decided to fucking tat his body with portraits of their faces, you know what I mean, on his chest. Dang. That was crazy. That was like a big thing for me. Like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, people do that shit often for large acts. But
during that time, like, Los Rakas was popping off during 2013, 2014.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're still booming, man. They just got nominated for a Grammy last year.
Oh, word, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, they're still working, still booming. But that was some crazy shit, bro. I never expected someone to come in there and take off his shirt and have tattoos.
How did he even do it? You're just like, I'm here, let me just take my shirt off.
I don't know how he made it to the back. Somehow he made his way into the green room, and the conversation was super chill. It was like, whatever with you, nice to meet you.
Right.
And he took off his shirt just from one. He didn't say anything. He just took his shirt off. It was more like, I'm going to surprise these guys.
Right.
He took his shirt off, and it was just weird, the few seconds that it took for him to take his shirt off, everyone was looking at each other like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Like, why are you taking your shirt off?
Yeah, no one's going to say anything, but it was just weird. Like,
especially as like the only dude that was brought back, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was just a crazy experience, bro.
Dang, Chicago, House of Blues. Shout out to dude, whoever you are, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully that experience meant a lot to him. I would hope. You know what I mean? He got to meet.
I'm sure it did, man. I'm sure he talks about it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so, unless he got some new tattoos or something like that with some other artists. But I mean, that's cool though. Like, music is really like really powerful. Like, I mean, I know what it's done for me. Like, you know what I mean? That's the reason I think I was able to, you know what I mean, get into like school even. You know what I'm saying? When I always hated school. You know what I mean? Straight barely graduated from continuation high school with straight D's and stuff like that, to like being in a PhD program now where I like the crux of my research is on hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I mean, I guess like, how did you get into music, man? How did you get into DJing? Like, did somebody or some kind of artist touch you? Maybe not so much where you want to get ink, or maybe I don't know. Maybe you got some ink, right? But like, that, what I guess sparked it for you?
Man, DJing came. I remember being young and like having like a little drum set in the house, and I would constantly play the drums, and that was like a thing I did. That was like something that I picked up. Then in the third grade, I played the trumpet in third grade.
Nice.
Nothing to do with what I'm doing now, but I feel like it was always in me. You know what I mean? And I think eventually, as I got older and I started listening to the radio a lot, and the local radio station here in San Francisco would have like on long weekends they'd have like mix shows, so they'd mix all weekend, and it was cool to me how they were able to play songs, specific songs, but good songs in a row that they weren't playing during the day.
Which station are you talking about?
Back then it was Wild 107.
Okay.
So now it's 94.9.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I remember 94.9 doing that. I remember as a kid, 94.9 and 106 had its days where they were playing like local cats sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, they still do a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? But it's it's mostly top 40 now. But you know, the mixers are still pop though.
Yeah.
Mixers still pop.
For sure, definitely. Back then, you would have the mixed DJ as opposed to the jock. They would have more freedom as to what they played in their mixes. You know what I mean? So the 5 o'clock mix or whatever, the morning mix, those DJs had a lot more freedom than they do now.
Because it's all program managers now, right?
Now it's completely programmed. You have to choose from a certain amount of songs. Back then, it was pretty much open to whatever they wanted to play. And that's kind of what I caught on to, and I thought that shit was awesome. And I was lucky enough to have met people as I got older who were DJs, who were like close to the family, who would put me on to like just little things, being able to play with turntables and a mixer when I was younger. You know what I mean? I never was able to afford it till I got older, but you know, at least I was around it. And I feel like music definitely kept me out of trouble, being brown in San Francisco, you know, in the 90s. At that time, I definitely could have got into some other shit. You know what I mean? And so I feel like just music kept me positive and kept me out of all sorts of crazy shit.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So that like when did you, I guess, start getting into DJing? Or how did you? Because you said you didn't get your first turntables till a little bit later, right?
Yeah. So in middle school, actually, I this person that was in my family, he would do like he was a musician. He was a musician, but he would have like it's like a all-in-one unit where like you can play CDs out of it. So he would take the unit to his gigs where he was performing, and he would let the music play, right, as he would perform. So as I got old enough, I would inquire about this shit. One day he took me to a gig and let me basically play the music in between their sets, the band sets. That's how I started. And he would let me keep the gear at my house. So I had a homie who in the 7th grade, the 6th and 7th grade. He was from New York, but he lived in San Leandro. So every summer he would go back home to New York, and he'd come back and he'd bring these Funkmaster Flex mixtapes, but CDs.
Damn.
He'd bring not just the Flex ones, but he'd bring like bootlegs of like reggae mixes, all the hip hop mixes, all the like old freestyle mixes, and he would bring them back. And what I would do was I had these CD players, dual CD players with a mixer. I'd mix the mixes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd play, these New York mixes, they'd probably play like 30, 40 seconds of a track.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'd play a song and I'd mix into another song on a different CD, and then I'd find another song on this CD. So that's how I started. I was never good though. At that
Were
point,
they like CDJs or something? I guess like old school kind of CDJs kind of thing? Or?
It's more like a rack unit, where it's like a 19-inch rack unit where it kind of looks like a DVD player almost, or
Okay.
the size of a DVD player. And the CDs would go in on one section
Mm-hmm.
on the front of the board, and then the top part of the rack was where the mixer was. So it was two different units.
Dang, so it was really like some makeshift
Yeah,
mixes, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I think it was like a PV something or other CD player, American DJ CD player. But yeah. So that's how I started mixing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I started mixing, and then my 8th grade. This was around 6th and 7th grade. 8th grade summer, after 8th grade, going into freshman year of high school, I met somebody named Leroy Bermudez. He was doing something with the city where he was going to paint a mural on the side of a building on 19th and Mission.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom, she would have me in all sorts of shit. So she signed me up for this program. We're gonna get like a stipend at the end of like 6 weeks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, Leroy was a DJ. I was like, no shit. So Leroy brought me into his little circle, and Leroy was the person who actually taught me how to mix. He taught me about BPMs. He taught me about song selection. He was like the person who actually broke it down for me. Before that, it was just playing songs. It was never about mixing. It was never about, hyping up a crowd. It was just playing songs,
Mm-hmm.
Leroy was a person who taught me how to mix. Like, he broke the shit down. He told me how to count BPMs, you know what I mean? And I credit my mixing skills to fucking Leroy for sure, absolutely.
And that's a
Yeah.
skill I feel like a lot of new DJs don't really have as much, because I mean now it's all on, it's done for you, right? Like
Yeah.
the computer tells you your BPM and you can just press a button to beat match and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, for sure.
So that's cool that you had kind of like an OG kind of like mentoring you in and also bringing you mixes from New York must have been tight.
Oh, yeah, that was Nick. Shout out to Nick.
Oh,
man.
that was
The homie-
Nick. Okay.
Yeah, the homie Nick would bring me mixes, like mixtapes from New York. The bootlegs, too. The bootlegs where it comes in the sleeve, and the actual artwork is like super like bootleg copy, photocopy, you know what I mean? Papers fading and shit. But
Man.
those mixes were like what got me started in actually playing music. And it was, even though I started that time, I was mixing on CDs, Leroy taught me how to mix on turntables.
Mm.
So when I first learned how to actually blend music, it was on vinyl on turntables.
Right.
So that's initially how I started.
So it was just really like organic for you then, huh?
But yeah, absolutely. I feel like everything's meant to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and
Mhm.
that was definitely how it was supposed to happen for me.
So when you started, was it mostly hip hop or what were you doing?
I couldn't blend. Hip hop was too slow for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was too slow. I couldn't blend hip hop for shit. So I started mixing like up tempo shit. A lot of like old school freestyle, Stevie B type shit. That was faster BPMs, 119, 120, 125 type
Mhm.
speed, but it was easier for me to blend that. It was just, I don't know, I just couldn't keep up. Hip hop was just way too slow for me to like beat match. It took me a while. Yeah, for sure. So it started off with, like freestyle music, booty, what do they call it? Miami bass type shit, you know what I mean? And then and then slowly, as I would buy my own records and shit, I slowly learned to beat match hip hop and what was on the radio. I'd start to emulate what I heard on the radio and shit.
Right. So I guess, like, would you consider yourself like more of a hip hop DJ now, or like what kind of or do genres even matter to you? I guess as a DJ.
It's weird for me because I go in phases. I go in phases all the time. Like there's points where I won't play anything but house music. You know what I mean? And I just won't. I'll get a call for a different type of party, and I just won't. I'll do it for the money, or I'll do it just for the exposure, or just to be able to do it. But it's not a fun gig. You know what I mean? So I feel like I go in phases. Right now I'm kind of playing a lot of Latin shit. I think I'm going. I don't know. It just depends. It really depends on how I'm feeling.
What are you listening to right now these days?
What am I listening to? I'm listening to what I normally do is I usually listen to a lot of talk radio, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I definitely listen to a lot of talk radio, a lot of KPFA, but also I listen to like a lot of other DJs. Like I'll go online and I'll just search just random DJs to see what they're playing, see how they're mixing, just to see what else is going on. I don't really go out as much as I used to, or like try to explore other markets by going out and partying as much as I used to. So for me, like, this is my way of being able to like just to see what they're doing, see what they're playing, see how the DJing is shifting with the new equipment that's coming out, how they're using the shit.
So just kind of staying up to date with like the direction everything's
going.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
That.
But mainly it's a lot of talk radio, bro. I definitely, you know what I mean? Like I definitely zone out to some talk radio for sure.
Any shows that we should look out for on KPFA? That's the Berkeley radio station, right?
Yeah, I think it's they're in Berkeley. You know what? Anything, bro. Anything they do. Davey D's on KPOO. I know you know Davey D, right?
Yeah.
Davey D, Hard Knock Radio. That shit is awesome.
Yeah.
You check out Davey D on Hard Knock
KPOO
Radio.
KPOO is tight, man.
KPOO is awesome, bro. It's a San Francisco staple.
Right. Shout out to Hip Hop for Change Radio. I was just up on there this past Sunday.
Okay,
with,
that's right.
with JP and stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean it's tight. I think it's the only or the last black-owned radio station, right? It's black-owned, right? I'm pretty sure.
I believe so. Yeah, independently owned, listener-sponsored radio station.
Yeah, and very overtly political too.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
for
I mean, like, it's not political in the sense that it's going to ask you to vote for like or ask you for money or anything like that, but it very much leans towards like I guess like a Black Panther culture. I always think the Bay Area has kind of a Black Panther culture. I mean, maybe it gets obscured right now with this rapid rate of gentrification, right? With these barbecue Beckys and permit patties and this new one. What's this new one again?
Racist Rachel.
Yeah. I think folks was lazy with the nickname and that one.
That one was kind of phony. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it obscures that a little bit. But like, I feel like that's what I really love about the Bay, and that's you know what I mean. That's why this is always home, is because like when you listen, even just listening to the radio, you can have an avenue to talk about real shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Openly, right? And critique, like, you know what I mean, these kind of like structures of power, these fucking like crooked fucking orange Kool-Aid mans, you know what I'm saying, as presidents and shit. You know what I mean? Is that what you're into? Is that why you like you peep like, you know, all these shows and stuff like that, or what do you look for during these talk shows?
A lot of it is news, politics too, but it's not really specific. I think it stemmed from just being in the car, and so I used to drive this car. I used to drive this old Toyota Matrix.
Okay.
And I don't have a. It's an older deck, so I don't have an auxiliary input.
Oh man.
So there was a point where I exhausted all my CDs, like a shit ton of CDs in the car. And I can't fuck with the radio. Like, I cannot listen to the radio. I can't deal with commercials.
Right,
It's just, the same songs. I just can't.
It's like listening to one CD because it's literally just 10 songs on rotation.
Absolutely.
Right?
So even if you go through the stations or you try to scan through some shit, it's never anything, like, super interesting. So I started to listen to KPFA. I started to listen to KPFA. And KPOO, I had always listened to KPOO just because they play salsa on Saturdays. KPOO is the shit. So I got put on to KPFA because I didn't want to listen to like regular radio. You know what I mean? And I exhausted my CDs in the whip.
Right.
So it was like I kind of had no choice, but it was, you know, it was good that I stumbled upon it.
That's like the original, like the real podcasting right there. You know what I'm saying? It's just like real shows where it's like not driven by sponsors and record labels.
Yeah.
Payola. Fuck payola, right? The pay for play shit. You know what I'm saying? People really just, it's like, you know, I'm going to play what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like what you're talking about back in the day where people can play their own songs in the mixes where they didn't have a program manager.
Right.
Kind of like, because these days it's really like the program manager doesn't even just tell you like the pool of songs you can choose from. They'll tell you the order they want you to play them in.
Absolutely.
Right. So like what kind of creative agency do you have? You know what I mean? A lot of these radio shows, right?
Yeah. For sure. No, you're right. Definitely.
So is that something that you might want to get back into? It's like radio hosting type of stuff, radio talk?
I don't know. Radio's always like been really fun and good to me. I wouldn't mind getting back into radio. Mm-hmm. I like film a lot though. I wish I was able to write, like a screenplay.
Oh, what kind of film would you want to make?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. There's so much out there. I was thinking like, what if I did like a ill ass silent film? Okay. You know what I mean, or something.
A DJ making a silent film. That's interesting.
Something. You know what I mean? Like, but film, bro. Film's always been like a love, a passion of mine. Like I love film. I love capturing shit. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like, I feel like doing it all, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case with a lot of like, I don't know if you would consider yourself a hip hop DJ, but I feel like, you do hip hop. This is hip hop right here.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I always think of like hip hop is not really a genre of music, it's a culture.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of hip hop heads, it's a natural progression to want to do a lot of different things because they're all kind of connected. You know what I mean? Like all the different types of media and stuff like that. If you know how to record a mix, you probably can figure out how to work your camera.
Yeah.
You can figure out how to work, you know what I mean? What's this, Adobe Premiere and, Final Cut Pro and all that stuff, After Effects and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's been a natural progression for, I mean, in my opinion, a lot of folks out here, So
Absolutely.
That's cool. What's the next thing you pushing then? Are you still like going on tours or?
Man, right now I'm trying to build a party, man. I realized that a lot of like a lot of the OG DJs have built brands. Mm-hmm. Party has become a brand, and they're able to just make a party and take it to another city and just move around with the brand, with the party. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to figure out what kind of brand of a party I'm trying to build.
Can you say more on that? Like, I guess, what has made other brands successful?
Okay, so like for example, Motown on Mondays. Motown on Mondays started at Madrone here on Deviz and fell in San Francisco. And now they do Motown on it's exactly what it sounds like. They play Motown on Monday nights, every Monday. Now they have that party, I believe, in over 25 cities around the world. So there's a Motown on Monday every Monday night for 9 years. They're about to celebrate 9-year anniversary. I want to say this weekend coming up or next weekend of doing the same thing. They do it in L.A., San Jose, San Francisco. There's one in New York, Washington. It's all over the country, and apparently they're doing it out of the States also. Dang. So, and that started with one dude going at a bar. Like, Madrone's not that big. It's a little hole in the wall. Mm-hmm. And so just being able to start a party that can turn into a brand, Right. I like parties where it's about the DJ. It's about dancing. It's about what the person is playing. It's, bottle service parties are fucking awesome. I don't have anything against them. But it's not really authentically about music. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's more about
turning up. Yeah.
It's more about turning up, but I mean you can turn up at another party, but it's more about like showing off. It's more about bottle wars and who can spend more money on bottles and and that's cool, but it's not too exciting for me as a DJ.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to go to a party where I get that instant gratification of, I play 3 songs back to back, and people are gonna move to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just a different vibe that I want to be able to create.
It's a psychology, right? Like,
absolutely. Oh,
like
absolutely.
You want to check out other DJs because you want to peep out how they read the crowd, kind of thing, huh?
Yeah.
So it's like you're almost there to like kind of just appreciate the way that they do it, so that you can do it better, kind of thing.
For sure, absolutely. So that that's what I mean is trying to build a brand, trying to figure out exactly what type of feeling and vibe I want to create.
Right.
And then be able to build on that and create a brand that, if you hear of so and so party, whatever the name would be, you know what you're walking into. You know what I mean? You know there's no dress code, or the type of people that are going to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or just the vibe that you're walking into, whether it's in San Francisco or New York, or you go to LA. You know what I mean? It's the same vibe. Same thing with the Motown on Mondays. You know the vibe here in San Francisco is something, and you go to the one in Oakland, and it's damn near the same thing. The only difference would be the DJs. Yeah, absolutely. The DJs and the venue. You know what I mean? The vibe is still there. The energy is so, and that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to grow a party into a brand and be able to take that shit on the road, pretty much.
That's powerful. I never really thought about it like that. So it's like, it's not just a community, it's kind of like a movement, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, to be around like-minded people at a party,
right?
It kind of transcends the party itself,
for sure,
right? Because it makes it so like, you know what I mean. We have a space. It's like creating a space.
Yeah,
and that's so important in the Bay Area right now, right? Because we touched a little bit on gentrification, right? Because right now I feel like, well, back in the day, I feel like I can go to any bar in San Francisco and they're gonna be playing hip hop. You know what I mean? Or any club or any kind of party venue.
Yeah.
But now it's like every venue that like. Not every venue, but a lot of these venues not even playing. You know what I mean? They're playing shit for the gentrifiers. It's like stuff I've never heard of. It's just white people shit.
Yeah.
To be blunt, you know what I mean? Not to say there's anything wrong with white people shit, but when white people shit is everywhere, that shit makes it like it's colonization.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's definitely not like kind of like folks coming in to be part of the culture. It's folks coming in to take over type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of speaks, at least to me, like how important it is for you to do these kind of things, to make these parties, to build a vibe, and to bring people together on that vibe, right?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
What are some of the ideas you have, I guess, for like the
vibe? To be honest, I'm not even sure. I'm still trying to figure out. I guess it's all going to start with the music. It's gotta be about the music. Right. So I think now I'm just trying to figure out how I can structure the music in a way where we can branch off that. Like I keep talking about Motown on Mondays. It's Motown. You know what I mean? It's like they don't just play Motown music, but it revolves around Motown. You know what I mean? And they go from there. And so I want to be able to kind of find a specific type of lane in music first before I get, you know what I mean, like to where I want to throw the party or the venue, or you know what I mean. Right. And I still haven't figured it out yet. I think me personally as a DJ, I play all types of shit. Like I feel like I'm capable to be able to rock a party in a room full of people with all different types of music. I'm also happiest when I'm able to play a wide range of music, as opposed to someone saying, we're going to hire you specifically for hip hop all 1 hour. That's cool, and I love hip hop forever, but as a DJ, I want to be able to say more with different types of music. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to find a specific genre or like a lane in music for a party. Right. You know what I mean?
Because there's got to be at least like a base, right? Like a base kind of understanding of what the party is.
Got to have the foundation, right? You know what I mean? And then we can build on that.
And usually the foundation is based off like kind of like a word everybody knows, like hip hop. Like you know what I mean? You hear the word hip hop, you have an idea of sort of what it could be.
Yeah.
But then there's so many different kinds of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
are they gonna be playing like top 40, or are they gonna be playing quote unquote conscious hip hop, whatever that might mean? Are they gonna be playing Latin hip hop? You know what I'm saying? Like it could be like anything. You know,
right?
Like
for sure,
300 different things. But like you said, to be a creative or an artist means that I'm gonna play a whole bunch of different type of things, and I feel like that's like a New York thing too. I noticed the New York DJs always like sneak in things that are kind of similar to the things that everybody knows, but just because they know that nobody else would know this.
Yeah. No, there's definitely different, better markets for DJs to, where DJs are breaking records and like just thinking outside the box with their sets.
Right.
For sure.
And you said you had a showcase coming up, right?
Yeah, on Sunday I'm gonna be on. It's called Ego Crushing.
Okay.
So shout out to brother Reese who hosts it. It's pretty much like a showcase where they'll give me 45 minutes behind the turntables, and I get to pretty much play whatever I want.
Right.
Which is super exciting for me, to be able to do whatever the fuck I want.
So that seems like the platform for you to flex, right? And that's the kind of experiment with your, like, I guess the vibes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Did you have some things in mind already, or is it a secret?
Nah. Well, I got a shitload of records. I was thinking I've done the show before, and I wasn't too excited about my set that I did last time, so I wanted to do something a little different. So this time I'm considering. I haven't really locked it in yet, but I'm considering just digging through all these records, picking a stack of music, and seeing if I can come up with like a hot 45 minutes of music on all vinyl.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can do that. And specifically, I want to play all house music.
Dope.
Just
you have house music on vinyl.
Yeah, for sure. There's a shitload of.
That's how DJs stay in shape, huh? Like you gotta just carry crates.
Yeah. That's how it used to be. You start off carrying somebody else's crates, and you got your own shit. Then you get a roadie to carry your crates. Yeah. Now people just show up with a little USB, a thumb drive, and plug and play.
Yeah, with some DDJs, which is cool, but you know what I mean. It's not like you're not gonna stay in shape like that.
Yeah. Definitely not.
That's cool though. How many records do you think you need to bring for a 45-minute set? How many crates?
Probably just be like one crate.
Yeah. Like
a super specific crate. The funny thing is, you mentioned that. I was thinking about it yesterday when I was going through some records. I don't even have a record bag, or a crate to transport my records.
Yeah.
Like that's how long it's been. When I moved here, I didn't have that shelf, so all my records are on the floor.
Oh man!
So I haven't had a crate for hella long. So I'm like, damn.
How did you find stuff when everything's on the floor? You just know, or?
Well, I was on Serato at the time, so I wasn't really playing the records. But yeah. So I don't have a way of transporting the records. I'm gonna have to figure that one out.
They got some at the Container Store. I'm sure you heard of it, right? Like it perfectly fits records and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's like $10, I think.
Word. I might have to do that.
Yeah.
We'll see. I still don't know if I'm gonna play all records yet. It's been so long.
But I'm sure like
it'll be fun though.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to to hear all the fuck ups, and you know what I mean. Like it's a mix by a human. It's not a computer.
Yeah.
So that's always fun to be able to hear that shit and go back to it.
It's really live. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
Speaking of that, because even radio, like a lot of them are pre-mixes now, right? It's like people don't really mix live on the radio too often no more.
Yeah, it depends on who it is, but definitely a lot of people pre-make mixes, and then they
hello.
Hey. Definitely a lot of people pre-make mixes and then they send them in. It's a lot safer, it's a lot easier, and then as the higher ups, they don't they don't want to give you the opportunity to fuck up or to rebel and play some shit you're not supposed to. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot safer to have people send in mixes.
Right. Because I worked in radio for a couple years too, and I remember like because I was a board op, that was like one of the things I always said was like, yo, we don't want to sound like college radio or whatever like that. And I was like, why not? College radio is dope. But like, no, we want to be professional, whoop-de-whoop, all that stuff, So, I understand the margin of error, but like you said, though, but if you are a DJ, you're probably going to be excited to, like even to hear the fuck-ups are going to be dope to hear, Oh,
no, absolutely. The inconsistencies and even like the popping and the cracking of the vinyl on the needle, you know what I mean? Like all that shit is like exciting. It's fun to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it should be exciting, bro. It should be this Sunday, ego crushing. It should have a good time.
We might need to do a follow up so we can see like how you feel. You know
yeah.
How you feel about this set? Because how come you didn't feel good about your first set that you did with them?
I just didn't. It was a lack of preparation, I think it was, and that's usually with most of my sets. You can usually tell the difference for me when I took the time to pick out an hour's worth of music, and when I just bullshitted, an hour's worth of music.
So what kind of preparation do you normally take to rock a set? I guess does it always depend?
It usually depends. It usually depends on the type of party it is. There's certain parties where I can definitely get away with playing top 40 shit. It's the same thing that you can play, or that guy can play, or that guy can play. You know what I mean? And I can get away with it, and they're gonna be okay with that shit.
I mean, it's a little easy, I think, to do top 40. I'm not a real DJ, but I can DJ. I've DJ things for like high schools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just play top 40. You just make sure
absolutely.
Keep the vibe going.
Absolutely, but it also depends on your crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are they up on other types of music?
Right.
So, I think last time it was just a lack of preparation. I just, I think I probably set like 15 minutes worth of music at a 45-minute set. So the last half hour was just me just randomly picking songs. It wasn't, I just didn't prepare. So this time I think I'm gonna do the vinyl set. I'm gonna try to pick out 45 minutes of music on records on vinyl and see how that goes.
So is this your main hustle right now? Is DJing? That's like your primary hustle?
DJing is a stream of income for sure. It's not my main stream of income. I got a regular job just like everybody else.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So but DJing is my passion. You know what I mean?
Right,
if I could do this all day every day, I would love to. You know what I mean? Fucking 12-year-old me would love this shit.
And I know the thing about artists these days are like, especially if you're trying to be like a professional artist, there are a lot of different sources of income. It's hard to like kind of rely on any one source, right?
Absolutely. I think that's just living in San Francisco, period, probably. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. That's true.
It's rough out here, and you got to have more than one stream of income to be able to like manage and break even.
They say the poverty line in the Bay Area right now, not even SF, just the Bay Area, is 6 figures now.
Wow.
Did you hear about that?
That's ridiculous.
And then the only industry that pays you like a quote unquote living wage at the poverty line is in tech. Really, that's more or less the only industry, right?
Yeah.
Like because typically the other ones that pay that much they come with a whole student loans and on them different things. So I mean, especially being an artist out here is extra tough, right? Or is there any kind of like advice you would give for like up and coming artists, maybe like here or beyond? You know what I'm saying? Like
Man. Oh shit.
Because you toured like the world, right? Like you've done like international tours and stuff like that too, right?
I have, yeah. I think it's just about being truthful and honest with yourself. You know what I mean? And just learning when to walk away from shit. Also.
What do you mean by that?
Just there's timing is highly important in everything, and I think there's fuck. Oh man, I'm stuck. I don't know. I think it's just important to know when it's time to walk away from certain things that are taking too long, or there's dead end type of situations.
So kind of like Wells Fargo.
Yes, absolutely.
So bringing it that's full circle.
Amazing way to bring that shit full circle.
Right, absolutely. Because it's like working a job that doesn't really have anything to do with the things that you care about. Having to choose a time, like being strategic, of course, right? Because absolutely, you can't leave a source of income that's steady.
Right.
But at the same time, if you know that's not what you like want to do, or like that if you're passionate about, because who knows, you might end up like being there for 10 more years, and then it might be too late to
absolutely
to do a music career or what have you, right? Or I mean, I don't know. I'm still feeling like that now because, what I'm saying? Like, I still have, like, my primary grind, which is, like, I guess you could say is academia. But that's not what I want to do. At least not research. I care about, I like teaching and stuff like that. But the whole reading and writing part, what I'm saying? It's not very popping to me. And I'd rather do stuff like this. But But you know, we got to be strategic and realistic, right? Because in this day and age, you know, like I heard even like one of the most poppin' artists on Spotify only made like 10 G's in streams for like the most poppin', like, you know, songs for that year. So you know what I mean?
Wow, that's just streams.
Yeah, that's just like for the year. I mean, granted, I think that's based off of like their most popular song.
Right. Okay.
Right. But that's still like that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like let's say that was for like 10 songs and stuff like that. In San Francisco, that makes you at the poverty line.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not to mention all the money and time it takes to produce music. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of times people only see like the glamour and stuff like that. But I'm sure all this gear, you know what I mean, like took invest in, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm them things are precious to me, bro. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But yeah, I feel you, bro. It's tough out there, man. It's tough, especially being in a city that's changing so fast.
Right. So how do you stay motivated?
Man, I just try to stay close to people that, you know, can keep me happy and motivated. People who are moving and shaking.
Dope.
You know what I mean? Because if not, it just you get away from it, and you know it's hard to start up again once you slow down. Mm-hmm. I do this shit all the time. I'll stop. You know what I mean? I'll try to come back around, and it's like twice as hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just got to keep going, and just by staying close to people who are motivated themselves, self-motivated individuals, that shit will keep you going, man. Like that shit will really, you know, keep the little spark lit. You know, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's what we used to say to the high schoolers I used to work with. We always said like, be around the people you want to be like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I mean it's true. You know, or be around people that are better at the things that you want to do than you are. Because that's how you get better and things like that. Right?
What do they say? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Although I would say like, you know, don't leave your homies.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, like find some places where they like, you know, you can get pushed. You know what I mean? To be better and stuff like
Absolutely.
that. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Especially in a place like the city. I know a lot of folks who still to this day have never seen the snow before, because you know what I mean. Folks don't leave the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's that's a trip too, bro. People, you know, go get you a passport, bro. It's not that hard to. It's not that expensive to put a stamp on your passport. Travel somewhere,
or
you know.
Find a way, make it happen.
Make it happen, man. You know, just go somewhere, even if it's just outside of the city within your own state.
Yeah,
you know what
I
mean. Like
just beautiful for sure.
Absolutely, bro. Just go somewhere. You're right. There's people that don't even, you know, they don't leave the block. You feel me? And it's like, damn, bro, it's a whole world out here.
Man, that's beautiful. I mean? But hey, we getting close to the hour mark. Is there anything that you want to plug?
Nah, bro. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you coming through, letting me talk to your folks for a little bit. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man.
Hell yeah,
it's a
bro.
Good excuse to like kick it with dope friends.
There you go.
Doing dope things for the world, man. Hey,
sure.
man, I really appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Thank you, bro. Right on.
Peace, world.